Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Colton with Bear Scare Beauty, back again. And today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be doing a full review, and this is not a first impressions, this is not an unboxing, anything like that. I've had these for a little while already, and I'm going to do like an actual comprehensive review of them. And the review we're doing today is of the Juvias Place Warrior Trio. These are all small 9-pan palettes that are a trio. You can buy them together, you can buy them separately. I think they're really great as a trio together, actually. So I'm first gonna start by talking about them individually, and then I'm gonna move on to kind of as a collection. And then I also got a blush palette by Juvias Place. It's the Saharan Blush Volume 1. Before we get into that, I'm just gonna get into this real quick. It's very pretty. It has like this absolute Barbie dream house. Zane, Toby is the orange, Abby is it's like a black plum. Two highlighters, Lila and Zara, and then Neo. It's this really pretty red. I really love these tones of blush. I'll use them on my face here in just a second. They are hyper pigmented. They blend out really easily though, so you know, you can kind of tone them down. I'm obviously super pale, so it's not really intended for my skin tone, but it does work on my skin tone. So that's kind of that on the blush. I really like it. I'm going to be investing in more of their blushes and blush palettes. So let's get to the eyeshadow. I got these on sale. I think I paid like $35 for all three of these. I believe normally they're closer to $50 with shipping. I'd still say that's worth it. If you buy the trio, you're getting 27 shadows. They're all really good. I've been playing with these for a little over a week now. I've used every palette. If you follow me on Instagram, and I'll put pictures up here, I've been doing looks with all the palettes. So this is the Warrior 1. As you can see with the Warrior 1, it only has 3 matte shades and the rest are shimmers. The mattes are 3 like neutral to cool tone browns. And then we have all the shimmers. Very pretty though. We have this very deep, deep brown. It's almost a black, but it blends out to like an ashier brown, a very neutral brown, and then we have like a creamy white shade. But yeah, these are very, very pretty. Given that this only has 3 mattes, I'd actually say that this is more equipped to being like a travel palette, like just a one, because you've got your 3 real neutral browns. I've actually just used Kano and then a shimmer on my lid, and it's really pretty. Or you can blend it out a little with the Aoshi to get kind of that softer edge, or even deepen it up with Minnow. Really versatile for just being 3 mattes. The shimmers are kind of for everybody. They're really pretty, they're really smooth. These shadows aren't creamy feeling, they're a little dusty, but I haven't experienced any fallout from any of the palettes. Very nice. So that's the Warrior 1. I'd say if you're just looking for an everyday on the go, no muss, no fuss makeup, you only do, you know, kind of your regular brown eyes, fantastic. Now we have the Warrior 2. Out of all the palettes, I'd actually say this is both the least and the most accessible. It's all mattes. There's not a duplicate in the bunch. They're all extremely pigmented. They're all like similar tones, but very different at the same time, if that makes sense. They're not super warm. They're not cool or neutral tones. None of them look ashy or anything like that. They're just such a unique tone. Very pretty though. I think Zama and Walzana, the orange, and then this is like a gray brown, are my 2 favorite shades from the entire palette. Kufuru, this very deep chocolatey brown, super beautiful. They all blend out really well too, which is kind of amazing. I haven't noticed any patchiness, and they're all very pigmented. Kind of on the same level as like Anastasia Beverly Hills pigmented, but with AB8 shadows, I've noticed that the more pigmented they are, much harder to blend, whereas these have all just blended like a dream. And now we're gonna move on to the Warrior 3. This palette is a lot of fun. It's got the purple Candace. This is probably my favorite eyeshadow out of all 3 of the palettes. and I'm going to make a comparison. I'm going to make a comparison to the Jeffree Star Shane Dawson purple, which I hated. It's terrible. It's patchy, it does not blend, terrible. This is how you do purple. This is absolutely how you do purple. It's deep, it has a lot of pigment, it blends out like a dream, it's not patchy whatsoever. This is like a prime example on how to do a purple shadow. Super great. The pink Fenty, beautiful. Bubblegum, but like very soft. Then we have Jarawa, which is this kind of like deep orange, and Kahina, which is this kind of dusty red, and then Nzinga, this yellow, super great. The Masai, this kind of foresty green, I would actually say is the least pigmented shade in the entire collection. Not that it's not pigmented, just the least pigmented shadow out of all 27. It blends really well, but you do have to build it up a little bit to get that like full green opacity, but it does blend out really well. So, but yeah, this is kind of a rainbow palette, but I feel like it's a rainbow palette done right. Once again, all highly pigmented. This one does only have 2 shimmers in it, but they're super versatile. We have the blue one, which is Congo, which is almost more of a glitter. And then we have Karama, which is, it's like silvery blue. And that's like a true shimmer, like a very creamy kind of, you know, mirror-like shimmer. So, as far as these individually, I'd say the Warrior 1, absolutely worth your money if you're just looking for an everyday palette. You're not too complex with your eye looks. You're just like a nice kind of wash of soft brown that you can deepen up or even lighten and highlight around the edges, and then a beautiful shimmer. I'd say this is perfect for that. This is kind of an everyday go-to palette, right? The Warrior 2, I'd say similar thing, perfect if you actually don't really like shimmers, you just like a nice wash of color, or even doing some more complex eye looks with it, because it does have a lot to offer. Given that it's all matte, it's also a great like accompaniment palette to any shimmers you have or any other palettes you use. I'd say this is also well worth it, but once again, maybe the least accessible because it has no shimmers. And the Warrior 3. If you really want a good rainbow palette, if you're dying for a fantastic purple, I wouldn't hesitate to get this. Out of all of them, this might be my favorite one, followed closely by the Warrior 2. So yeah, individually, I'd say they're all individually worth it, depending on what you're looking to get out of it. Now, as a makeup artist, kind of hard to say. I'd rather they all be in one palette, but it's easier, and think from a consumer standpoint, it's easier to travel with something this size than something this size, right? I mean, even when you've got all 3 of them with you, this is still compact. So I can definitely understand why they released them like this. And I think as, you know, sister palettes in the same collection, they go really well together. So now I'm gonna kind of talk a little bit about the collection. Once again, I got these heavily discounted on sale. I'd say even at full price, I'd probably buy them again. Like if I ever use all of these, I probably wouldn't hesitate to buy them again because they're good. They're really the quality and consistency that I would kind of look for in every shadow, right? Especially companies that promote themselves as being for professionals. I would really kind of hold them to this standard because they're fantastic. They blend easily, they're super pigmented, they don't lose color throughout the day, and you can still blend other shadows on top of them or pack other shadows on top of them really to, you know, build up color, which a lot of shadows you can't. With the Norvina 3 palette, I've experienced that too. You can really only use 1 or 2 shadows before they stop kind of building on top of each other. I haven't experienced that with these. I really can't gush about these enough. They're really good. They're very fantastic. So yeah, I mean, at the price point, I definitely say they're worth it. There's a lot of versatility to them, and they all work really well together. So I mean, like the Warrior 1, ton of shimmers, very few mattes. Warrior 2, obviously all mattes. These two together, fantastic. There's not a repeat among any of these color-wise. They're all very different colors. So yeah, it's really great. And then of course the Warrior 3, if you're looking to add a pop of color with your neutrals, these are fantastic too. The black, Shawata, I believe it is really, really pigmented, but blends out really well. It does feather a bit into more of a gray than a black, but when you pack it on and then blend it out and maybe just have a little bit more on, it's perfect. It's black, deep, deep black. It's beautiful. So real quick, I'm just going to do a quick simple eye look to kind of show you guys how they perform, to show you that I'm not lying, because I really like these. So I'm gonna pull the camera in a little bit. I'm just going to take, this is just a Wet n Wild blending brush. I've had this forever, but it's one of my favorites. And I'm going to dip into Yodit. It's this nice kind of neutral, almost camel brown. And I'm gonna start by just kind of blending that all over the eye. Starting on the outer corner and then just gently sweeping it all around. I've already primed my eye, by the way, with the e.l.f. Putty primer. I've been testing those out and they're really good. They're not nearly as creamy as the MAC paint pots, but I don't particularly like MAC, and they perform just about the same. I'm gonna try to keep this eye a little more rounded looking. On just kind of a crease blending brush, I'm gonna dip into Minnow. It's the deeper brown from the Warrior 1 palette. And I'm just gonna kind of deepen up the outer V and kind of push into the crease a little bit. Kind of working to feather that up a little bit on the outer corner. So as you can see, it's a really, really nice soft blend between those two colors. Just gonna take on a really kind of fine angled brush, Walzana. It's the almost gray brown, and I'm just gonna keep that just right at the corner, and kind of work it into the crease a little bit. Semi-smoky eye, but like not super, but kind of, but a little bit, but not really. And with just a little pencil brush, I'm going to dip into Kufuru. It's the kind of deep chocolate brown, and I'm just gonna run it under my eyes. If your eyes are hooded like mine, you gotta make sure you get it right under your little eye flap right there. And now, just because I can, we're gonna put some shimmer on the lid, and I'm actually going to dip into Karama. It's the kind of silvery blue. Just getting that all over a little pencil brush, and just kind of beautiful, beautiful blue. It's almost gray. I don't know. It's not like silver, right? Where it's like a very clear silver color. It's like cooler toned than that, so it's almost like a blue gray. It is hard to describe, but it's very pretty nonetheless. And just for funsies, I'm going to take Morimi. It's this really pretty kind of champagne color, and just highlight the inner corner of my eye. Gorgeous, gorgeous looking. And just because I can, I'm going to take Neo. It's this really deep red blush. Picks up a lot of product. To tap it off, I'm also gonna tap it on the back of my wrist a little bit. Kind of gets a little of the excess off. And just gently, gently, gently. And there we go. I think all three of those palettes work fantastically as a group and individually. I think any one of them is absolutely worth the price point. I think all three of them really work cohesively and are definitely worth the price point. The blush palette as well is also very pretty, very workable. Everything blends well, everything is very pigmented. Overall, I am super happy with them. I don't think I've had this reaction to a makeup product since maybe the BH 1991 palette with Elise Marie. That level of quality, super careful color choices, super cohesive color choices. Overall, super pleased. I'd really suggest, if you haven't tried Juvia's Place, doing it. It's well worth it. You're not going to regret it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Colton with Bare Scare Beauty. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, same way it's spelled here. And subscribe down below if you haven't. It'd mean a lot. Watch my other videos too. That would also mean a lot. I hope you have a lovely day and are staying safe. Bye.